my point of view, it's JC who's going to fall, and then it's going to be me against Ian. I've always been kind of like a STEM focused kind of guy, very analytical, logical, and chess fits that pretty well. I do get really locked in, but it's a blessing and a curse a little bit. Can create some tunnel vision. The puzzle on the Survivor Island, I did not want to do the puzzle. I'm not great with puzzles, especially under pressure. I feel even more pressure because not only was it my own game, it was also all of my teammates. Eventually, I just decide, you know what, I'll take it. I'd rather not have to go against Ian.
Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Behind the Beast, where we get to know the contestants on Beast Games Season 2, Strong vs. Smart.
Hey guys, my name is Ethan. I am contestant number 21 in Season 2 of Beast Games. I am a chess coach and also a college student, and this is going to be my interview for Behind the Beasts.
You coach chess. What do you think is the biggest flaw that you see in students whenever they're under the pressure and the clock is running?
So actually, when it comes to like time pressure, I notice a lot of students, first of all, a lot of students don't even notice that they're running the clock down. So that's the
Sure.
first mistake. Um, and the other thing is students will often kind of like start to go into panic mode a little bit and start like rushing their moves because they're thinking more so like I have to get this move in before time runs out rather than like let's think for a second, let's make the best move.
Mhm.
So it's I think it's that mental pressure that is understandable in that situation. But when it comes to chess, the most common mistakes kind of vary by skill level.
Mhm.
Usually, when it's like beginners and intermediate players, it's more so they just straight up blunder a piece. That's the most common culprit for messing up a game. You maybe hang a knight, hang a bishop or something. Um, and as you kind of move up, it's still blundering, but it's also that's where like time comes into to play a bit more.
Sure.
And like also that's where you start to see some tactics. So you start to see some like piece sacrifices. Um, and then you start to see like looking a couple moves ahead rather than like the immediate next move. And so you'll start to see like right maybe rather than you messing up or you blundering a piece, it's your opponent who just has a really nice idea and you see it too late and then it's
Sure,
kind of like
sure.
an oh shoot moment. So yeah, it kind of depends on the skill level.
Now, to you personally, when did chess stop being just a game and something that you really were into and like basically how your brain started functioning?
Yeah, so chess, I've never been like, and I'm still not like super serious into chess. I'm not, you know, I'm not a title player or anything, but it's helped me a lot with kind of everything. It's helped me like learn to think in steps, think ahead, think about what my opponent could be doing or like what my competition could be doing rather than just myself, just my own game. So it's helped just generally like strategically and it's also made me I think more intelligent, more better at just solving problems in general.
Nice.
Um
So
yeah.
if you don't mind asking, what are you actually studying in college right now? And is that going to be like your future goal?
Yeah, so right now I'm studying computer science.
Nice.
So, a lot of coding, some math here and there. I've always been kind of like a STEM focused, kind of guy. I've been very analytical, very much logical. So it's definitely in line with my skill set. And chess kind of also fits that pretty well. It's basically just purely, a game of tactics, strategy. There's no emotion involved. It's
Mhm.
just purely logical, which is where I do the best. Um, so yeah, I'd say that's my kind of my path.
All right. So when people are playing chess against you, would you mind spilling what your personal tell is?
So, well, actually, I pride myself in the fact that I feel I don't really have much of a tell exactly. Like,
Sure.
I guess when I'm tilted, it's more when I'm playing online because, that's when you can like keep playing games over and over again, and that's
Yeah.
a slippery slope. But in person, I don't know. I feel like I usually stay pretty level-headed. Like I'm not someone you can pick up a lot of, I guess, emotion from in a game like chess. Um, I guess if you're looking at, in a chess game, maybe trying to see if I think I messed up, it usually is when I start to slow down and take more time between moves, or
Sure, sure.
I just generally kind of like freeze a little bit. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm not in a good position, so I better slow down. But that's about my only tell, I guess you could say, for chess.
And I feel honestly, yeah, I've kind of seen that even in some of the competition of these games itself, you have kind of like a very stoic face whenever you're locked in and you're just in the mindset of the game, and you kind of just like forget about any like emotional value to it, and you kind of just like lock in for the gameplay itself.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse a little bit because I do get really locked in, but that also can create some tunnel vision, I feel a little bit,
Sure, sure.
especially in something like these games. Um, it helped with the blocks challenge a lot, I will say. That
Mhm.
was good there in that moment.
Yeah,
But I guess in some more well, I mean, blocks was really high pressure, but like maybe something like the puzzle on the Survivor Island, that was, I feel, even more pressure because not only was it my own game, it was also all of my teammates who were,
yeah.
kind of relying on me in that moment. And actually, funny enough, for that challenge, I did not want to do the puzzle. Even though I was like, I'm a chess guy, like I'm the smart team, like I'm the default pick. I just felt, I don't know, I'm not great with puzzles, especially under pressure. So I just did
Sure,
not
yeah.
want to be that guy. But I
But the
was the
rest of your
default
team
pick.
was like, yeah, you're the smart guy, so you got to do the
Yeah,
puzzle. That just makes sense to them.
yeah. I really wanted to do the one JC did, which was like
Mm.
the code thing with the
Oh, sure, sure,
matching and the
sure.
combinations.
Yeah.
But I'm the only smart in that team, so it just made sense for me to do the puzzle. But
Yeah.
and JC did pretty well with that.
Yeah. And I mean, I gotta say, to even get onto the island, you solved that equation that no one else in the city was able to do. So, do you have like competition whenever you were trying to solve that equation, or once people saw that you were handling it, they didn't even try to bother to solve it as well?
Yeah, so funny enough, actually, Tyler Lucas,
Mm-hmm.
player 167, was I think the first one to get to the equation.
Mm-hmm.
But there was actually a mistake with the equation. So there was a missing addition symbol. It was just
Oh,
pretty simple algebra. It was kind of hard to do it in your head because there were some big numbers, but it was, at the end of the day, it was just basic algebra, and it was missing a plus sign. So everyone who attempted it first probably all got it wrong because the equation was wrong.
sure.
So I get there after Tyler. He's kind of just staring at it. And then I think eventually he just walks away. And so I'm trying to solve it. I get an answer, but it's not a whole number. I had to do some long division. And I'm
Sure.
like, this cannot be right. Like, there's no way this is right. So I keep
Yeah.
trying different versions. Like I round it to three decimal places. I try the first three digits. I just try a lot of different random things. And then eventually I'm just realizing like something's up with this.
Yeah.
So it took a while. Actually, Jack got there too. So
Mm-hmm.
after I'd been working on it for a little bit, Jack arrived and I'm like, dude, there's something wrong with this equation. And he tried it and he got the same, answer, wasn't right. And eventually he actually went somewhere else. I think he gave up. But in that moment, I knew like if I wanted a chance at a cannonball, like that was my chance. Like
Sure,
I'm
sure.
I'm on the smart team. Like I've done math competitions in the past, so that was my chance to get a cannonball. So
So, how
I
did you
just stuck
figure
at
out
it.
where the plus sign actually went within the equation?
I kind of looked at it and then I looked at it again and then I realized like if someone were to mess up writing this, like I feel like this is where they would mess up. They would miss
Sure.
that plus sign. So I literally just tried that. And I realized, oh, this is gonna give me a three-digit integer, and that's sure enough, that was the combination. So, yeah, just I guess kind of getting in the mind of whoever wrote it down. because they did a
Hey, I
terrible
mean,
job. No, no
I
shade, but
mean,
it was like
no shade,
it was
but
not
yeah.
a
I mean, mistakes happen, yeah, but hey,
yeah,
at least you had the critical thinking to try to figure out where a mistake could be and solve it. So, I mean, hey, you're on team smart, so it worked out.
yeah.
So now, actually going into Beast Games, how do you believe that your chess knowledge actually prepared you for the competition itself?
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it prepared me at all. I'm gonna be so honest. I
Sure.
don't think it
Okay,
prepared me at
cool.
all. Maybe the
Hey, that's an answer.
memorization a little bit.
Sure,
I don't
yeah.
know, but I don't. And to beat Jimmy, I beat Jimmy in chess a couple
Yeah, yeah.
times. But
Yeah, I'm sad they didn't show that because
yeah,
I was actually I was playing board games on the couch nearby, but I saw it happening, and you didn't beat Jimmy just once, but he asked for a rematch, and you got him the second
yeah,
time. I remember that. Yeah,
yeah. And funny enough, both of those games I actually messed up. I blundered pretty bad in both of those games, and I still managed to to clutch up against him.
yeah.
So
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, that's not his specialty. Now, if it's Catan, I heard that
Mhm.
he's a pro Catan player, so that we have to worry about.
Yeah,
But
I would be screwed. Yeah, I played it a few times, but man, I don't know anything about Catan, so I'd be screwed.
all right, so now you started off as rivals with Ian on the obstacle course, where you guys had to advance players on your team 1v1, and it was a free for all. And that actually ended up making you teammates by the end of it because you were one of the people that passed on. So, is this really where your friendship, quote unquote, started, or do you meet him earlier in the city?
Yeah, so I think before that we had a few interactions, maybe playing poker, some card games. So I got to talk to him a little bit before that. And with the obstacle course situation, I actually wasn't really involved in that. I was kind of just off to the side. I didn't want to insert myself in that
Sure.
rivalry there. There was some smack talk between Mike, and Ian, and then also obviously Tyler and Eric. That was like the big drama. I kind of just stayed, behind that. Didn't want to insert myself in anything I was not involved in.
Sure.
So yeah, us becoming a team was kind of just circumstance. It wasn't really intentional at all, obviously. Um, and so after that point, we had gotten to know each other. We're talking a bit more. We're starting to become more friendly. So I'd say that's where, yeah, I would say I started to build a little bit more trust with Ian.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and I thought when we were just kind of when it was the first five, I thought that was a little bit, I don't know, I didn't want to say anything, but I felt that was almost a little unfair because this is the only team that we couldn't pick who we
Yeah. Yeah.
were who the team was. But
Hey, your team ended
I
up doing better
yeah,
than mine on the captain bribes, so it worked out for you
yeah,
guys,
yeah,
at
I
least for
know.
there.
Yeah. And actually I felt pretty good about Tyler, even though we had spoken, not too much, but I had one good conversation with him
Yeah.
uh I think the day prior, and I just had a good feeling about Tyler. So I was okay. And I knew, me and Vance, like we would not be captains because we're outnumbered. So I didn't even bother
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. Sure.
Um, so yeah, I actually felt pretty good into that with the captain bribe.
So now, before stepping onto the island itself, did you have any idea how big the Survivor collaboration was going to be? And were you a fan already of the show?
So I'll say I was a fan, but definitely not like okay. I thought I was a fan, but after seeing how some people reacted, I quickly realized that was maybe more so, I don't know, like a casual viewer. I don't
Sure,
I
sure.
had
Casual fan.
started
Yeah,
watching it like, maybe when I was 10 or 11, and then I've kind of watched it here and there, maybe like, every couple of years I watch the
sure.
season, but I could tell from the boat that whoever that was on the island was um I couldn't think of it in the moment, but I think in the back of my head, I knew that stance, like that, that powerful stance.
Sure.
And I'm like, I think that's Jeff Probst. And as soon as I clocked that in, it's like, okay, this is gonna be Survivor. So
Yeah, yeah.
um at that point, just seeing Jeff, I I thought it was gonna be, I knew whatever it was would be really cool. It would be like just incredible. But then I saw the Survivor crew, which is like just this
Yeah.
mass of like cameras and like people, and I'm like, oh shoot, like this is big. Like this is legit. Like this is a crossover. This is going to be intense. So um yeah, I thought I think also I was a little at that point a little numb, a little starstruck because I was already meeting like Mr. Beast,
Sure, sure. So like, oh,
Tariq,
this
like all
is
the
part of the
boys. Like
world,
these are
just
people who I've
meeting.
seen,
Yeah.
on YouTube videos with hundreds of millions of views that I've
Yeah.
watched for, years at this point. So it's already kind of crazy to be face to face with them. And then also like even like Jeff, like the winner, like that's the winner. Like that was the last
Yeah.
season's winner. It's like who I watched all of that season with my family. We watched the show together. So it was crazy, like up to that point. So meeting Jeff Probst, I was almost like numb at that point. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, oh,
Sure.
Jeff Probst, okay, yeah. Um,
And now you were
but
also like
yeah,
such a big part of the Survivor episode. So I guess yeah, we can kind of go into that. But eventually you got through the first challenge that we talked about earlier. But the big moment was on the polls. You, JC, and Ian were the last three that were there. So can you talk to me about everything that was going around you in your head, and basically what caused you to make that decision to let go of the poll?
yeah. So we all saw Tyler and Nick. They fall relatively quickly, and then it's down to just me, JC, and Ian. And at that point, going before the bribe comes out,
Mm-hmm.
through that period, I was kind of more just focusing on hanging on, like
Mm-hmm.
thinking of how to quiet like the voices saying this is uncomfortable, I want to drop, like just more so just focusing like let me just stay on.
Yeah.
And knowing in the back of my mind, like at that point, even I was pretty sure if it was me and JC that I would win, most likely win. I want to give JC some credit, but I think I probably would have won that. Just given like his, I guess, the dark cloud from season one, and then also
Sure. Yeah.
having some prize money already. So I was confident against JC, but that's about the extent of my strategic thinking in that moment. So when I heard there was a bribe coming out, and then I saw it was $50,000, that's where it really started to mess with my head because going into Beast Games, I did have an amount of money that I would be like totally fine to leave with. And uh, funny enough, that number was $50,000. So
Really? Wow. Okay.
in that moment, I'm like, this is like the money that like if I walked away with this, I would be completely happy. So
Yeah. Yeah.
unfortunately, in that moment, there was also some other additional considerations that I guess were getting clouded, which was that I could have won. I would basically, if I took it, it's giving up the shot at the $1.8 million. So that was already kind of screwing with me a little bit. And then looking to my left, looking to my right, I see Ian. He had like adjusted his position, but I know he's a Ninja Warrior guy. So I thought this was just strategic because he looked, at least from my point of view, he looked pretty steady.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't look like he was having, he wasn't super comfortable or anything, but he looked like he had control over his position.
Sure. Yeah.
And when I looked at JC, and mind you, up to this point, JC had been shaking quite a lot. And he was a couple of times he had actually almost fallen,
Mm-hmm.
um, at least from my point of view, because he kept having to adjust his feet on the pole. So he was shaking, he was moving his feet around. I thought eventually, like at least before Ian, I thought eventually he would fall.
Sure. Sure.
So my point of view, it's JC who's going to fall, and then it's going to be me against Ian. And it's not that I thought I would be screwed against Ian, but I thought it would be tough. And I just wasn't, I knew it'd be a battle. I just wasn't sure. So money comes in, and I'm like kind of like indecisive. And then I start hearing JC and Ian both chirping in my ear. They're like, telling me to take it. It would be a good idea to take it. And I feel almost like part of me wanted to hear that. Like part of me wanted a reason to take it because the last thing I wanted was to not take this bribe, get second place at tribal, and then get eliminated in the next challenge. Because
Sure, sure,
if I went home with nothing after having the chance at 50,000, I would be kicking myself. So I wanted to avoid that at all costs. But, you know, that also comes with a cost. So it was a lot going through my head.
yeah, yeah,
Hearing them in my ear, I think was what kind of pushed it over the edge of like, okay, maybe they are right. Maybe like I was actually taking what they were saying at face value a little bit because I'm like, it's a lot of money. Like 50,000 is still a lot of money. And it was basically what I was totally fine to leave with. So eventually I just decide, you know what, I'll take it. I'd rather not have to go against Ian. And I take the money. And then it's JC and Ian. And I quickly find out Ian probably would have fallen first, which that kind of hurt to hear
sure,
because
yeah.
then it would have been me and JC. But yeah, it was just a really high pressure moment.
So in the moment
Yeah,
itself, do you feel like you were manipulated, or do you feel that is a choice that you genuinely made for yourself before knowing that Ian was about to fall?
I'd say it was both. It was my choice at the end of the day. I could have stayed up there, but having them say what they were saying also made it like kind of like coaxed me a little bit more towards taking the safe route.
Sure, yeah.
So I would say it's definitely a mix of both. And for the record, I don't blame either of them for that. That is completely understandable. When you have, $1.8 million on the line,
Yeah, yeah.
you're gonna play the strategic game. You're gonna try to get me to drop because that is strategic. Um, so nothing, no I don't blame them for that. Um,
What information would
yeah.
you had to have known in order for you to have made a different decision in that moment?
I would have had to know it'd be me and JC.
Okay. So if it's guaranteed you and JC, you would have stayed up there as long as you needed to.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Going from tribal, there was a moment where Ian said that he would sacrifice himself for anyone on the island, and it was actually really cool. I saw the foreshadowing that they focused on you specifically because later on in the next challenge, when you're trying to find teams for the cubes, you did ask Ian if you could be on a team with him, and he actually rejected it. So, can you walk us through that moment from your perspective?
Yeah. So once we found out it was going to be cubes, I kind of beeline towards Ian because, I remember that promise he made, at tribal council. And then also like the fact that, I kind of messed up a little bit. I kind of gave away an island, right? So um, I thought, that would be my moment to cash in on that promise.
Yeah.
So, I go up to him. I'm like, hey, made this promise, let's do this. Let's do, me, you, and Tyler, right? So unfortunately, I had kind of almost forgotten about Briley, because she stayed in the
Sure.
city.
Yeah.
Um, and also like how close those three were because I think they were like day ones. So they were very tight.
Hmm.
Um, so, I ask him and then he's like, eventually he's just like, sorry, can't do this. And then he picks Briley, which even that, like even picking Briley over me, I think is I get it. It's your first alliance rather than I guess your later alliance that kind of came together by chance. Like the island
Yeah.
people kind of we were just a chance group. Uh just whoever found a cannonball. So
Yeah.
I even understand that because you got to understand, like he can say whatever he wants to win the island, but when it comes down, when it really comes down to it, he's going to pick his closer ally, someone who he
Mhm.
thinks will help him or that he wants to help, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't change the fact that in the moment it hurt. In the moment it was really annoying, and I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit because of how long I spent on Ian, which I could have spent a little more time towards the end, maybe last second finding another group. Um,
Who would you gone for if you had the choice besides Ian's group?
yeah, honestly, I probably would have went for someone who already won money.
Mm.
So someone like JT, Jeff, or JC, or the couple
Mm-hmm.
with Jim and Monica, because that would be Jim's time to self eliminate. Um, Otherwise, honestly, just any group of three, you know, because as we see, I end up in a group of two, which is the worst case scenario.
Yeah. So were you also
Yeah,
hoping that they would just advance you because it was a group of two? Were you one of
I
those people
was
thinking
actually
that?
in the
Okay.
moment, I was thinking like maybe this is a twist.
Yeah.
Maybe we just move through. Everyone thinks the group of two is the worst, but we actually get a free pass to the next thing. So I was hoping for that, and then eventually like they're like, nah, it's still gonna be one person going home. So
Yeah.
uh yeah. So that was kind
So
of
now,
unfortunate.
yeah. So whenever you actually got in the cubes with Katie, you two played your game and so forth, and you ended up losing to that. But then Katie said that she doesn't care about you. But I feel like there was more that happened in the cubes that led up to that moment. So did that hurt to hear, or were there other things that led to that, and you understood where she was coming from?
Yes. So I know a lot of people were talking about that being kind of like a moment where it's like, dude, why would you still self-eliminate after she
Yeah.
says something like that? And I get it because like that is kind of a rude way of saying that now that I look back. Um, but in the moment, I was way more like I was thinking a lot more like about the fact that I just got eliminated more than anything.
Mhm.
So I was more so processing that. And I also like I understood what she meant when she said that. Like it wasn't really that it's not like she wishes bad on me. Like she wishes like she's happy I got out. I think it's just like we didn't know each other. Like out of anyone there, we probably talked the least. So it's like,
Sure, sure.
and it was like kind of like a mutual understanding that like we're not too attached. So it's like if either of us go, it's not going to be the end of the world. So I got it. Like I understood what she meant, but yeah, I can also see why people were like you know just shocked that I didn't just take both of us out. Um,
Yeah,
the
I
other
gotta
thing is
say,
like if I were to try to take her out too, then it's like now it's two people. Well, like I'd be eliminated anyways, so I'd just be taking one more person out for
mhm.
I guess spite. But at that point, there was zero way I would survive that round. So it's like
Sure.
I just didn't see the point.
And I will say, like, I mean, across all these challenges, I gotta say, like, your integrity was off the charts. So I gotta give you props for that. I think there's a lot of people like rooting for you, even on like Reddit and so forth, to possibly come back and get like a redemption arc. So gotta hope for that future season.
Yeah, yeah, because I think I played all right. I played pretty well, but
Yeah.
there's definitely some room for a little redemption. So yeah, for sure.
So now I feel there's another thing that like a lot of contestants were saying is that you at least you got $50,000, and they're kind of asking you to pretend that that 1.8 million didn't exist. So do you feel gaslit whenever people kind of bring that up to you and they're kind of trying to make you believe that the other amount didn't matter?
I wouldn't say I feel gaslit about that. I think they're just trying to make me feel better,
Sure,
like
sure.
because it's true. Like I got $50,000. That's amazing. Um, I think it's just more so like not wanting to think about like the negative or like the flip side of things, but rather focusing on like what is positive, what the ultimate outcome is, which is
Sure.
$50,000, like that's at the end of the day, that is what the outcome was. So
Sure. And hey, yeah,
yeah.
that is more than like 90% of contestants got out of this competition. So yeah, props to you for that. Based off everything that you've heard about yourself online, is there anything that you want to tell to the viewers watching this at the moment?
I'd say 95% of the commentary or sorry, I'd say okay, so it's probably 50-50 between support of like, man, I was rooting for you. I'm, sorry you regretted it. Sorry you went down the pole. Like really nice stuff, like support. And then 50% of like, dude, why did you drop? Like that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like
Yeah.
that was the easiest island. Like you basically fumbled. And I think both of them are like, there's truth to both of those because it's like, it was a hard moment, but also I would say it was a mistake. I would say it is something if I could go back and redo, I would act differently. Even
Mhm.
if, like, for example, even if it would have been me and Ian, I think that's just something you got to go for. It's 1.8 million.
Yeah.
Even though, like, you're not sure about the other person, it's like, even if you have equal chances, it's what, 900,000 in EV. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, if I could replay it, I would definitely hang on. And definitely, I think also the other overarching thing is for all of these games, I would go back in with more of like a winner's mentality, more of like because up till that point, it's not like I, didn't have my head in the game. I wasn't focused. I was kind of just like, I don't know, chasing butterflies. I was more like just trying not to lose
Mhm.
and kind of letting the challenges come to me
Sure.
and like just hoping I win the challenge, not thinking about like, let's form a core alliance and I guess playing because my social game up until that point was just trying to get to know people randomly, kind of like talk to whomever was around me, pretty much. Just
Yeah.
be friendly, and it worked out. But eventually, especially after Bluff in the obstacle course, I lost pretty much all of my alliances up until that
Sure.
point.
Sure.
Although like a huge chunk of the smart group was just wiped out.
Yeah.
So I would say if I could go back, I would definitely at each stage try to form more of an alliance with each at each stage. So I'd try to like regroup basically.
And then the
So
alliances
maybe
that you
like
did
yeah,
form later, they were again like with random people that you weren't as close with, like Ian and Tyler and
yeah,
Riley,
yeah,
that you were forced into.
yeah. So I would go in like more competitive, more like, you know, basically that get to the end mentality rather than like I guess letting it come to me, which is I mean nothing wrong with like I don't know, not being or like wanting to leave with some guaranteed money. But I think if I had the decision to go back and do it all over again, I would definitely be um, more competitive.
All right, Ethan. And to finish things off, we're going to do some rapid fire questions. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Now, what is your favorite chess opener?
So my favorite opening would have to be the Scotch game for white. It's a very comfortable opening for me. I tend to play it mostly every time I get white if my opponent plays into it. Um, and yeah, like it a lot.
Perfect. Now, what is one word to describe your island moment?
Um, I think I'm going to use two with like a little hyphen in between. I'd
Sure,
say
sure.
high pressure, definitely high pressure.
Fair enough.
The toughest spot probably my life so far.
Really? Oh, dang. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, the like gravity of like how intense or like the
yeah,
I can't
pretty
even
huge
talk about.
decision. Yeah,
Yeah. Now, what is the most overrated piece in chess?
the bishop.
Bishop.
It's
Okay.
kind of
So if
hard
you,
because yeah,
yeah.
go on.
Oh, I was gonna say, so if you had a chance to sacrifice it for one of like a place to set something else up, the bishop's usually one of the first pieces you get rid of.
Well, actually, no. Well, no. So I guess what I mean is I'm thinking like I guess compared to because everyone knows the bishops are strong.
Sure.
Um, they're rated high, but I think compared to the knight, especially at like intermediate levels,
Sure. Sure.
um, they're truly about even. Because knights are really good at, I would say, in certain end games
Hmm.
because they're really tricky because you can get away with a lot of forks if your opponent's not careful. But the bishops are very strong, especially if you got the bishop pair. If you have both
Hmm.
colored bishops. Um, but otherwise, if you only have one bishop and a knight, for example, that's I would say they're about equal. Technically, bishops are weighted a bit more. They're like
Hmm.
worth like 3 point something, and knights are like about three. Um, but yeah, if I had to
Should
just
be
pick
the
a piece, I
opposite.
think.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, what is a player that you are rooting for the remaining top 10?
So if I had to pick one single player, probably Hannah, because
She's
she
great.
already turned down a million,
Hmm.
and she is just super friendly, very much deserving. So if I had to just pick one, probably Hannah.
Honestly, that's a great answer. Yeah, and she's been super sweet this entire time, and she hasn't played any dirty games so far. So
Yeah.
hopefully they stick to that. So cool. And then, what will you take away from your time on these games?
I'll say if you ever you know, find an opportunity like these games, or you find yourself in a position to do something, try something new, um, just do it. Just get out there and do it. There's, plenty on the other side of um, just putting yourself out there. So I think um, and that's something I'll continue to do is to just continue to, hey, if there's an opportunity, it looks cool, just do it.
And now the applications for season 3 are out. So if you are watching this, you should apply. Are you going to apply for season 3 yourself? I know it's very hard because it's
Yeah,
represent your country, and we're both basically representing the U.S. So that's probably one of the bigger ones,
yeah,
competition wise. But
that will be difficult, but yeah, I'll definitely give a shot at season three, and yeah, I'm sure it'll be. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to. We haven't seen the rest of season two, but I'm sure it'll be
yeah,
great.
I agree. Well, Ethan, thank you again for taking the time to meet with me today. I'm glad that you got your story out there at least. And yeah, it was great catching up.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, this is.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to watch some of your other videos too with other contestants because I know you've been interviewing like all sorts of contestants. So yeah, I have
yeah,
to go back and watch. So
yeah. Let me know which ones you like afterwards.
yeah,
But no, but in the
yeah,
meantime, thank you for the
yeah.
audience for joining us for another episode of Behind the Beast. Bye.
Thank you for watching another episode of Behind the Beasts. It genuinely means the world to me. Now, for those who do not know, we are also doing a fundraiser across the entirety of the series for Major Connections. It is a foundation created by Gloria, one of the other contestants on the show, and its purpose is to provide resources as well as a sense of community for those with disabilities, both kids and adults, in rural communities. Now, oftentimes major cities, they have the funds to be able to provide these resources, but smaller cities do not, and that is what Major Connections aims to solve. If you want to learn more about Major Connections, check out the link in the description. If you have the financial means to do so, please donate to the cause. And if you don't at this moment, that's okay. Please share it with your friends and family. But for now, thank you for taking the time to watch Behind the Beast, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.